He casually unearthed an ancient helmet. Now the aliens see him as their prophesied leader. The hum of the orbital station was steady, almost comforting, but it could not hide the unease that rippled through the crew. Rumors had spread faster than light. Someone had arrived. Not just anyone. Rapunzel had returned. It had been years since she had vanished from Earth. Once she was known for her extraordinary intelligence and her unusually long hair, a shimmering curtain that seemed alive even when tied back. People remembered her kindness, her curiosity, and the way she seemed to see the world differently, almost as if she were already living among the stars. And then she had disappeared. No one had seen her leave, no one had heard her voice, and yet she had left a memory too strong to fade. Elias, a scientist in his early 30s, had been one of the few who had known her personally. He remembered her laugh echoing in the corridors of the old orbital lab, the spark in her eyes when she explained her plans to explore distant stars, and the quiet sadness when she had admitted she might have to go alone. She had trusted him then more than anyone else, and he had been helpless to stop her. Now, as he walked down the narrow metallic corridor of Station Etha, the communication panel blinked urgently. "Incoming visitor," it said, flat and bureaucratic. But Elias knew, even before glancing at the monitor, who it was. The station doors hissed open, revealing a figure that seemed unchanged by the years. Rapunzel stood there, her hair now woven with strands of silver and faintly glowing nanofibers, tracing patterns that shimmered like constellations. The light from the station reflected off her hair, and for a moment, Elias felt as though the stars themselves had come to greet him. "Rapunzel," he said, his voice barely more than a whisper. He took a cautious step forward, unsure if he should smile, hug her, or simply stand frozen in disbelief. She smiled, a little shy, a little nervous. "Hello, Elias," she said. Her voice was the same soft, melodic tone he remembered, yet there was something different, something stronger, steadier, filled with experiences he could not yet imagine. I mean," he faltered. Words failed him. It was the same feeling he had had the day she left, admiration, awe, and a pang of fear that she might slip away again. "I know," she said, stepping closer. "I didn't expect you to believe I'd come back, but I had to. There's something I need to show you, something only you can understand." Elias swallowed hard, feeling his heart beat faster than it had in years. The station felt suddenly smaller, confined around the two of them, yet the universe seemed to stretch beyond the walls, reaching in with possibilities too immense to name. Rapunzel led him to a private observation deck. The viewport was enormous, curving from floor to ceiling, showing the endless blackness of space dotted with distant stars. "I've seen worlds you can't imagine," she said. "Cultures, civilizations, life forms that challenge everything humans know. And through all of it, I couldn't forget you. I needed to return." Elias found himself speechless, captivated not only by her words but by the faint glow of her hair, moving subtly as though alive. Why come back now?" he finally asked. Rapunzel looked down for a moment, twisting a lock of her hair between her fingers. "Because I've learned something. Humanity has something special, something unique, and I need you. Not just as a friend, but because together we can do something that neither humans nor aliens could do alone." Her words were heavy with meaning, though Elias could not yet grasp all of it. He studied her, trying to find a clue in her expression. There was determination there, yes, but also vulnerability. She had journeyed through the stars alone and had carried a loneliness that no technology could fill. And yet she had chosen him, of all people, to share the next step of her life. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The hum of the station seemed louder now, almost deafening in the quiet of anticipation. Outside, the stars glittered like diamonds, distant and beautiful, waiting for discovery. Finally, Elias said, I don't know if I can help." "I'm just me." Rapunzel's eyes softened. "Exactly, just you. Human curiosity, empathy, and courage. That's what makes you capable. It's why I returned. You see things differently. You care, you try. That's what changes everything." Her words filled him with warmth, and yet 1,000 questions pressed against the edges of his mind. "What do you need me to do?" he asked. She held up her hand, the nanofibers in her hair shimmering brightly. "I need you to help me bridge experiences. To see through my eyes, to understand what I've learned, and to make decisions that only a human could make. If we succeed, we could change how humanity explores the stars forever." Elias looked into her eyes, seeing the truth there. He could sense the journeys she had taken, the solitude, the wonder, and the longing. Somehow he knew that the stars themselves had shaped her, and that whatever challenge lay ahead, it would require both of them, human and starborn, working together. The observation deck felt alive with possibility. Rapunzel extended her hand. "Will you trust me, Elias? Will you join me, even if it means stepping into the unknown?" Elias hesitated only a moment before taking her hand. In that instant, a bond was rekindled, a connection that had survived years and distances, and that now promised something greater than either of them could face alone. As they clasped hands, the nanofibers in Rapunzel's hair pulsed once, twice, then settled into a soft glow. It was almost like the stars themselves were acknowledging their reunion. Outside the viewport, the void of space stretched endlessly, but inside, the warmth of human connection, simple, brilliant, and full of potential, made the universe feel reachable. And for the first time in years, Elias felt that the future was not something to fear. It was something to explore, side by side with the human who had returned, carrying the stars in her hair and a story that only he could fully understand. Rapunzel whispered almost to herself, but loud enough for Elias to hear. "This is only the beginning." The station's observation deck was quiet now, bathed in the soft glow of distant stars. Rapunzel's hair pulsed faintly, the strands of nanofibers responding to her emotions, or perhaps to the vast, silent universe outside. Elias stared at her, unsure of what he had just agreed to. Linking minds with her sounded impossible, almost dangerous, but curiosity, that defining human trait, pulled him forward. "I don't know if I'm ready for this," Elias admitted, rubbing his temples. "I mean, seeing your memories." "That's, I don't know, like living someone else's life." Rapunzel smiled, gentle and patient. "It's not just my life, Elias, it's experiences that can help humanity, things no human has ever witnessed firsthand. I can guide you. You won't lose yourself, but you will understand in a way words can't explain." Elias hesitated, then nodded. "Okay, let's do it." They moved to the neural interface chamber, a small, cylindrical room filled with wires, softly glowing panels, and a single reclining chair. The chamber had been designed for experimental memory simulations, but nothing like this had ever been attempted. Rapunzel guided him, her hands steady, as she connected a few strands of her hair to the interface. The hair shimmered and vibrated faintly, as if alive. "Just relax," she said, "and remember, breathe, let your mind follow mine." Elias leaned back and closed his eyes. The soft hum of the station faded, replaced by a quiet emptiness. Then, suddenly, he was somewhere else. The stars were all around him, brighter than he had ever seen. A planet rotated below, its surface glowing with colors he could not name. He could feel the wind, smell strange flora, and hear a language that was not spoken but sung. It was overwhelming, at first terrifying, but then almost instantly he realized something incredible. He was experiencing it through Rapunzel's senses. He gasped. I can feel it. I'm flying." "Not flying," Rapunzel's voice whispered in his mind. "Experiencing. Seeing what I saw, learning what I learned." Elias' heart raced as he saw alien cities, structures that defied human engineering, and beings who interacted with their environment in ways he could barely comprehend. Yet through it all, he noticed something. Wherever she had gone, Rapunzel had not lost her humanity. She had observed, respected, and even connected. It struck him that humans, in their empathy and curiosity, could bridge worlds that others could not. Hours, or was it minutes, passed in the simulation. Elias saw Rapunzel negotiating with intelligent plant life to save a dying ecosystem, and then advising a mechanical civilization on how to feel empathy, not just logic. He could feel her frustration, her joy, and her longing for connection. And all the while, he understood why she had returned to him. She trusted him to comprehend what she could not share with anyone else. But then something unexpected happened. A memory long buried surged into the simulation. Elias saw Rapunzel alone, stranded on an asteroid for months, building a tiny shelter out of scraps. He could feel her despair and isolation. His chest tightened. I didn't know it was this bad," he whispered in the chamber. "She didn't tell anyone," Rapunzel's mind replied. "Not because she wanted to hide it, but because she didn't want pity. Humans don't survive through pity, they survive through hope, through choice, and I wanted to choose." Elias felt tears prick his eyes. The loneliness, the courage, the determination, it was overwhelming. And yet he realized it was what made her human too. She was human, and yet more than human, someone shaped by the stars but not detached from humanity. Suddenly, a faint glow in the hair pulsed rapidly. A signal dormant for years was triggered. Elias blinked. Rapunzel, what's happening? It's a map, she replied. A hidden path to a lost human colony, one we thought was abandoned forever, and only I can navigate it safely. Elias sat up, stunned. A colony. We didn't even know it existed, she nodded. The colony disappeared decades ago, its signals were lost. I found it through connections I can't fully explain. But there's more. Something is wrong there, resources are failing. They need help, and if humanity doesn't act, it could be too late. Elias ran his hands through his hair. We're talking about an entire civilization. We don't even know the environment, their technology, or how they've survived this long. How can we help? Rapunzel smiled, her eyes shining with a mixture of determination and hope. We have something no one else has us. Your human perspective, your empathy, your ability to see solutions others miss, and my knowledge of the stars. Together, we can reach them and offer help. But it will be difficult, and it will require trust. Elias nodded slowly. I trust you. And in that moment, a strange thing happened. The connection between them deepened, not just neural but emotional. He could feel her confidence and fear, her excitement and doubt. And she could feel his heart, his curiosity, and his resolve. Together, they were no longer just human and traveler. They were a team, capable of something neither could accomplish alone. The station's hum returned as the simulation ended. Elias opened his eyes, blinking at the familiar metal walls, but the memory of the stars remained vivid in his mind. Rapunzel's hair dimmed to a soft glow, as if acknowledging the completion of the transfer. You're different now, she said. You've seen what I've seen, felt what I've felt. Do you understand why I came back? I do, Elias replied. I never thought humans could experience this kind of life, and now I see we're capable of more than we imagine, together. Rapunzel nodded. Exactly. And soon you will see why humanity's role is essential. We have to act not just for them, but for all of us. What I've learned out there, it matters here. It can change everything. Elias felt a thrill run through him. The possibility, the responsibility, it was exhilarating. He glanced at the viewport, at the endless black of space dotted with stars. Somewhere out there, the lost colony waited, counting on them. And he realized that the journey ahead would not just test their intelligence or courage, it would test their hearts. Rapunzel stepped closer, placing her hand on his shoulder. Are you ready? Elias took a deep breath. Yes, I'm ready. And for the first time since she had returned, Rapunzel smiled with relief. The memory bridge had worked. Not only had Elias seen her experiences, but he had understood them. And now, together, they could take the next step, toward the lost colony, toward a challenge that no one else could face, and toward a future that only humans, guided by curiosity, courage, and empathy, could shape. Outside the station, the stars gleamed, indifferent yet inviting. Inside, two humans prepared to do something extraordinary. They were small, fragile, and unarmed, but they carried something far stronger than weapons: hope, intelligence, and the courage to act. Rapunzel whispered almost to herself, "This is why I returned." To show what humans can do, Elias smiled. "And I'll be with you every step." As the chamber doors closed, the station's systems hummed quietly, unaware that history, or perhaps destiny, was about to be rewritten. Somewhere out in the vast unknown, a lost colony awaited its human champions, and for the first time in decades, hope had arrived in the form of two unlikely travelers, bound by trust, courage, and a bond that neither time nor distance could break. The bridge of Station Etha was alive with quiet tension. Monitors blinked with data streams, showing the location of the lost human colony that Rapunzel had discovered. Elias stood near a viewport, staring at the swirling patterns of space outside. He could see the distant glimmer of the colony's star system, tiny and fragile against the dark void. His heart pounded, not with fear of the unknown, but with the weight of responsibility. Rapunzel hovered nearby, her hair shimmering softly in the station lights, a faint glow that mirrored the constellations beyond the viewport. "Elias," she said softly, "we need to decide. We can't delay. They are in danger." Elias turned to her, rubbing his forehead. "I know. But it's complicated. We don't even know what we'll find there. The colony has been isolated for decades. Who's to say our intervention won't make things worse?" Rapunzel's eyes, bright and steady, met his. "Humans are capable of incredible empathy, Elias. You think of consequences, yes, but sometimes doing nothing is worse. They are people like us. They need help. And you are the only one who can guide them safely. I can navigate the stars, but you understand them." Elias felt the weight of her words. Humanity had always been defined by its empathy, ingenuity, and curiosity, but the question now was whether those traits were enough. Could he, a single human mind, really make a difference for an entire lost civilization? The station's communication console chimed. Commander Valen's voice came through, steady and formal. Rapunzel, Elias, we've been monitoring your data. We understand you've located the lost colony. However, Station Command strongly advises against intervention. The potential risks are too high. You may trigger unknown conflicts or damage their development. You must reconsider. Elias clenched his fists. Risks? Yes, but leaving them alone, that's not humane. There are people there who depend on help, and if no one acts, they could fail completely. Valen's voice grew sterner. We understand your concern, but consider this. A human intervention could alter their culture permanently. You may think you're helping, but what gives you the right to decide their fate? Rapunzel stepped forward, her hand lightly brushing Elias' shoulder. They don't have a choice anymore. Resources are failing. Their survival is uncertain. This is not about culture, it's about life. Elias closed his eyes. He thought back to the memory bridge, to the moments he had experienced through Rapunzel's eyes. He had seen civilizations thrive, fail, and adapt. He had seen the resilience of life and the consequences of inaction. If they did nothing, these people could vanish from the universe, their knowledge, experiences, and human spirit lost forever. But what if we interfere? Elias whispered. What if our help changes them in ways we can't predict? We could make things worse. Rapunzel's voice was calm but firm. Elias, we are not their gods. We are humans, curious, thoughtful, creative. That is exactly what they need. They will decide how to use our help. And if we guide them carefully, using what you know, we can give them a chance to survive without taking away who they are. He opened his eyes, staring out at the stars. You're asking me to trust my instincts, my humanity, to make a choice that could affect hundreds of lives. That's terrifying, Rapunzel smiled faintly. Humans are defined by our courage in the face of uncertainty. You don't need to be perfect. You need to care and you need to act. Elias' mind raced. The ethical dilemma pressed on him from every direction. Intervene and risk disrupting a civilization, or do nothing and let them fail. Every instinct, every principle he had been taught as a human scientist seemed to contradict itself. And yet, he thought about the colony's likely suffering. He thought about the creativity, resourcefulness, and resilience of humans he had seen through Rapunzel's memories. He thought about the quiet moments of empathy that had changed entire civilizations. And he realized something. The very uncertainty of their intervention was precisely why humanity could succeed. Only humans could adapt, reason, and empathize in ways no AI, alien, or automated system could. He turned to Rapunzel, resolve forming in his eyes. We help them. We go there, and we do it carefully, step by step, respecting their choices, their culture, but we won't do nothing. That is not an option. Rapunzel's face lit up with a mixture of relief and pride. Elias, you understand. That is exactly why I came back. You see the importance of humanity, not just in exploration, but in responsibility. We can do this together. The station's lights flickered slightly as they prepared the coordinates. Rapunzel accessed the hidden map embedded in her hair, and it projected a holographic star chart into the room. Elias marveled at the intricate paths, the twisting warp lanes, and the signals that only Rapunzel's unique neural connection could interpret. Most humans couldn't even see this map, she explained. It's encoded in ways that only a combination of human intuition and my memory patterns can navigate. Elias leaned closer, studying the glowing holograms. I don't fully understand it, but I trust you. I trust my instincts, and I trust that together we can make the right decisions. Rapunzel nodded. Good, but there is more. The colony's problems are not only about resources. There are internal disagreements, factions that argue over how to use what little they have. Without guidance, their disputes could destroy the entire settlement. That is why your humanity matters. Your fairness, your empathy, it can mediate where logic alone cannot. Elias exhaled, feeling both pressure and excitement. So we're not just guiding them technically. We're helping them survive emotionally, socially, and morally. That's a lot to carry. Rapunzel stepped closer, her glowing hair brushing his arm. Elias, humans are capable of incredible things when guided by care and conscience. You think you're carrying a burden, but really you are carrying a gift, the ability to make a difference where others cannot. That is your humanity. The station's intercom chimed again. Commander Valen's voice returned, softer this time. Elia's Rapunzel. If you choose to intervene, know that station command cannot provide direct support. You will be on your own. The risk is yours to bear. Elias felt a shiver, but he did not hesitate. Understood, he said firmly. We will proceed. We are responsible, but we will act for them. For humanity, Rapunzel's eyes gleamed. Then we leave tonight. As they prepared for departure, Elias thought about the choices humans had always faced. From the first explorers who sailed across unknown oceans to scientists who dared to send probes to distant stars, humanity had always acted despite uncertainty. They had succeeded not because of power, but because of empathy, courage, and the willingness to act. And now, for the first time, he felt that he was a part of that legacy, carrying human potential across the stars. Rapunzel adjusted her hair, the nanofibers glimmering like threads of light. Elias, there's one more thing. The colony's environment is fragile. Small mistakes could have big consequences. Your empathy will guide them, but we must be precise. I understand, Elias replied. We'll be careful and we'll listen. We'll guide, but we won't take away their agency. Rapunzel's hand brushed his arm. That is why I knew you were the right one, not because you are perfect, but because you care. And that is the power humans have. Elias smiled faintly, thinking of the memory bridge, the worlds he had glimpsed, and the humanity that had brought him here. Then let's go, he said. The station doors closed behind them, and the engines of their small craft hummed to life. Outside, stars streaked past as they jumped into faster-than-light travel, a trail of human hope stretching across the universe. Elias looked at Rapunzel, her face calm but resolute. Whatever happens, we do it together. Rapunzel nodded. Together, that is the human way. And as the stars blurred into streaks of light, Elias realized that the ethical dilemma, the weight of choice, responsibility, and consequence, was not a burden. It was the essence of being human, to act, to care, and to strive even when the outcome was uncertain. That was their strength, that was their power, that was why humanity could endure even among the stars. The lost colony awaited them, unaware of the travelers who would arrive, carrying not just knowledge or technology, but the most potent force in the universe, human empathy, creativity, and courage. And Elias knew that whatever awaited them, together they could face it. The ship glided silently through space, approaching the coordinates of the lost colony. Outside the viewport, stars stretched into streaks of white as the faster-than-light engines hummed, filling the cabin with a constant, soothing vibration. Elias stood beside Rapunzel, feeling both awe and trepidation. This was the moment he had imagined countless times during the memory bridge. Now it was real. The colony should appear shortly, Rapunzel said, her hair glowing faintly, threads of light moving as she accessed the map encoded in her memory. Prepare yourself. We may encounter challenges we didn't anticipate. Elias nodded. I've never felt so responsible for so many people. Rapunzel smiled softly. That is humanity's burden and its gift. We can make choices, and our choices ripple further than we can see. But it is also what allows us to survive, adapt, and flourish. As they emerged from faster-than-light travel, the colony came into view. It was a breathtaking sight. Domed structures of translucent materials shimmered beneath the light of a nearby star. Water canals reflected the soft glow, and patches of green farms and gardens spread across the landscape. On the surface, small groups of humans moved with careful precision, attending to their tasks. They've survived all these years, Elias whispered. Despite everything, they've thrived, Rapunzel nodded, but not without difficulty. Resources are stretched thin. They're resilient, but they are at a tipping point. That is where we come in. Their small craft descended toward a landing platform near the center of the colony. As they touched down, the inhabitants gathered, cautious but curious. Children peeked from behind structures, elders observed with keen eyes, and engineers glanced at the ship with a mixture of wonder and concern. A tall woman approached, speaking clearly into the translator device. Who are you? Why have you come? Rapunzel stepped forward. We are travelers from Earth. My name is Rapunzel, and this is Elias. We've come to offer help, not to control, but to share knowledge and assistance, if you will allow it. The woman studied them carefully, her expression unreadable. You appear different. Your technology, your ship, it is beyond anything we have seen. How do we know we can trust you? Elias stepped forward, speaking slowly. We are humans just like you. We know what it is to survive, to struggle, and to care for one another. We are not here to take anything from you. We are here to help you preserve your home, your way of life, and your future." The woman's eyes softened slightly. "Very well, we will listen." Rapunzel led Elias through the colony, showing him the intricate systems that kept water flowing, food growing, and energy powering the domes. Despite their ingenuity, she could see where strain was showing. Pipes corroded, farms overused, energy storage limited. Small problems had grown into potential crises, and she knew that only a combination of human ingenuity and collaboration could solve them. "We'll need to start with resource management," Rapunzel explained. "You have done well, but there are efficiencies we can implement." Elias examined the irrigation canals. "If we redirect a portion of the water and optimize flow, we can expand the farmland without taking from the existing supply. It's a simple adjustment, but it could feed many more people." The colony's engineers nodded, watching him work through calculations on a small holographic display. They were skeptical at first, but as the water system adjusted, the results were immediate. Water flow increased slightly but steadily, and crops in the far fields received enough to flourish. "Impressive," said the tall woman, her eyes glinting with admiration. "You are human, yes, but you think differently. You see solutions we could not imagine." Elias smiled, feeling a warmth he had never felt in orbital stations or memory bridges. "It is what humans do. We look at problems and we try. We care enough to keep looking until we find a way." Over the next several days, Rapunzel and Elias worked with the colony, combining alien and human knowledge. They repaired energy systems using hybrid designs, adjusted water filtration, and introduced crop rotation methods that balanced efficiency and sustainability. Slowly, the strain on the colony eased, but the true test came when they discovered disagreements among the settlers. Factions argued over resource allocation, insisting on using technology differently or prioritizing certain areas. Without resolution, the colony risked internal collapse. Elias stepped forward, taking a deep breath. "Listen," he said, gathering the leaders. "We are not here to force decisions, but we have to find a way to share resources so everyone can survive. I know you care about your families, your farms, your projects, but we can find solutions that work for all of you. I will help mediate, but the choices must come from you." He proposed small compromises, encouraged dialogue, and used empathy as his tool. Rapunzel watched, impressed, as human compassion began to guide them. Slowly, the factions began to listen. Small agreements turned into coordinated plans. Humans, with their ability to understand others' perspectives, were solving a problem no technology alone could fix. By the end of the week, the colony's systems were running efficiently, disputes were minimized, and morale had risen. Children played near the canals, elders discussed plans for expansion, and engineers adjusted the new systems with confidence. Rapunzel looked at Elias with awe. "Do you see? This is what I meant. Humans can thrive where others struggle. Empathy, ingenuity, courage, you shine because you care." Elias smiled, feeling the pride of the colony's achievements. "I didn't do this alone. You guided me, shared knowledge no one else could access. But yes, humans can shine. We just need to remember how to." As they prepared to leave, the colony gathered to thank them. Gifts were simple, woven fabrics, fresh fruit, tools crafted with care. But the gratitude was profound. Rapunzel and Elias realized that this was what humanity could offer the universe. Not weapons, not dominance, but understanding, collaboration, and hope. On the ship, as they departed, Elias looked out at the stars. "We really did make a difference." Rapunzel smiled, her hair glowing brighter than usual. "Yes, and the universe will remember it, not because of power, but because of the choices we made and the way we acted. That is what humans do best." Elias nodded, feeling a sense of purpose he had never known. Together, they had not only saved a colony, they had proven that humanity's greatest strength lay not in technology, but in the human heart, mind, and spirit. And somewhere beyond the reach of even their vision, countless stars awaited, knowing that humans, guided by curiosity, courage, and empathy, would continue to shine wherever they went.